Traders, we're back and we're talking about AMC. This is going to be the end of the day update, so just bear with me. Now, if you didn't watch the previous video, here is my current option that I have open. I do have a few. Now, looking at that position, there's a lot of residual risk. And now you're saying, Tyler, are you a risky trader? Are you just sending it to the moon? The question, yeah, I kind of am right now. I do believe in what's going on. I believe the numbers are lining up and there's going to be a pretty nice push. Now, I'm probably not holding these options to $100 or anything crazy like that because I'm probably going to take profits as we're moving up because this is options. However, for those May 28th options, I'm probably going to be holding those a little bit longer or as long as possible to maximize the total profits. But everyone's saying, Tyler, do you have paper hands? Well, obviously, I put my money where my mouth is. I put the stones on the table, and it turns out I'm your wife's boyfriend. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But seriously, we got some really good stuff going on. The interest rate is through the roof. It looks pretty incredible, and it looks like the move is coming very soon. So like, subscribe, do what you got to do. Let's get to it. All right, so lately I've been getting just like straight into the content, so I think you guys like this more. I won't really spend too much time talking, I guess, because I get kind of boring to hear every once in a while. So let's look at what's going on. So earlier in the day, I did mention I believe we would hit about 100% for the short borrow fee, and it turns out we reached about 81%, which is still good. This is still very high. I also said that we were pushing record levels. I was really talking about what we saw back in January and December. I wasn't really talking about like previously over the past few years. So I should have clarified more there, but I just want to point that out that I was wrong by saying that. I'm sorry for all the hedgies out there. But yes, I was wrong when I was saying that, but we are pushing those local high ranges that we were at before. I would love to see this get above 100%, and it's looking like we are going to get there. We are running out all day long. They keep just adding more. So this is worth mentioning. I've kind of covered what I believe is going on here as well in the previous video. So I do believe BlackRock is lending out more shares just periodically throughout the day. And then eventually they'll skip about 15 minutes and you'll see they won't load that data. And then more will come back on the market. So that's worth mentioning. Overall, I don't think this is bad for the stock. I believe this is setting up for a massive push up, and I feel very confident in what's going on. Now, if you want to see some of that Ortex data with a utilization rate, now they've been sitting at the same rates for a while now. So I don't think that there's any real need to focus on those. I think utilization is going to stay at 100% for quite a while until we just start absolutely blasting off. I mentioned that back in the beginning of May. So we've been sitting there for a few weeks now, but Trades and Matt Kors do cover that, and they do a pretty good job of doing that. So I recommend just checking out their channel. Trades just made a video as well, so go check that one out if you're interested. But I try to make my videos pretty short, sweet, and to the point. But looking at what's going on, we are rising to the 81%, and this is just icing on the cake, and it's looking like the move is coming very soon, but I want to check out a few things as well. Okay, so this is the volume from Yahoo Finance. It's the easiest way to check out the overall volume on the day. I anticipate this number at 48 million to increase a little bit more in the after hours. But looking at what's going on, I'm pretty happy with the number overall. I mentioned that we were going to get more volume most likely today, which we did get. We didn't get that huge break, and it's worth mentioning we saw a lot of that movement come in the pre-market and the after hours. We saw really large chunks of movement. It's worth mentioning that I do believe AMC sold some of their shares. Now, I can't prove this at this moment. That's just kind of my opinion right now. And again, I don't think this is necessarily terrible for the stock. Me a week ago, I would have believed that, but the fact that we're continuously moving up while the market is getting absolutely crushed shows that there's a lot of strength behind this, and that, in my opinion, a squeeze is looking very imminent. And I also do want to see that volume keep increasing throughout the week. We want to see this number to keep increasing. I do believe it's setting up for a really nasty week in the upcoming week. Okay, now this is what I want to focus on was the chart, because we had a lot of good stuff happening today. So we really couldn't hold above the 10.12. That was a huge point that I wanted us to hold above, but we couldn't quite hold it at the end of the day. It's worth mentioning we held right above VWAP, which is as good as ever. That's the next best thing in my opinion. We're trending sideways right on top of that VWAP, which looks really strong as well. And the Nasdaq is also pushing up at the end of the day, which is good to know as well. Tech had really good earnings once again. This is leading that we might have had a turnaround Tuesday going into Wednesday. So this again is the best that you could be asking for, all things considered. It looks like we could be setting up for a pretty massive Wednesday for stocks across the board, but typically Wednesdays are pullback days. However, we have had 2 bad days in a row, so I would figure going into Wednesday we may just in fact get a bounce on the market as a whole, which is very good for AMC in my opinion and really could boost the stock. But let's point out another few things, and this is what is really exciting me on the chart as we take a look at the OBV. And you'll typically hear me before I see us talking about getting another breakout or something like that. It's typically the OBV that leads us, in my opinion, to getting that next breakout. So for all the YouTubers watching watching this, take some notes. You might learn something. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Chill, chill, chill. So as we're breaking out here, I do believe we're trying to break this double top right here, and we're getting a nice little sideways flag, like we're going to push through this level. Now, if we get a push through this level, I believe we're going to start pushing this local high here, which I do believe will break. But as you watch my channel a lot, you'll know that I tend to look back at how history has performed in the past. Now, if we look at what's going on here, it's worth mentioning that this looks really good in my opinion, right? We had that straight down, consolidating, kind of getting that bottom, rounding off, and now we're pushing back up. Now, a lot of people would consider this to be a wedge, but I want to explain why I like what's going on. So as we come back over here, this is really what I want to point out, right? This is that February movement that we saw. You saw we had a straight push. We started bottoming out, and then we started seeing that straight up move, and then boom, it got really crazy. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get this crazy, you know, just parabolic movement right there. I don't know how it's going to move. I would suspect actually that it's something like that based on what's going on with the short interest and the utilization and stuff like that. This is looking crazier than it ever has. But I do want to say this is looking awful similar to what we saw in the past. We're getting beautiful rounding down here at the bottom. There's definitely a lot of momentum coming behind AMC as well via social media, and I mean everyone I know is asking me about AMC right now, so it's definitely getting a lot of traction compared to how it was back in February. It's getting like as much traction back then, but also there's a lot of people still holding the stock as well. Now there's new buyers coming in once again, making another wave of those Reddit investors, getting me pretty excited as well. So this is really what I like to see, and I do expect to see somewhat of a breakout on here on the OBV, which like I said typically leads us on AMC. I recommend that everyone that's watching any YouTuber, myself included, when you're watching myself, watch out for what we're saying, because a lot of people are saying false information and a lot of people are just saying things to get more views, okay? They don't actually have money in the game and they're just here for the clout. And I hate saying the word clout because it makes me sound like I'm Logan Paul or something. And that's not what I'm trying to come across as. But I am genuinely concerned for a lot of people that are following the channel and they're listening to other people as well. Now, I recommend even when you're listening to me, you need to back up what I'm saying. You need to look up what I'm saying. Don't be lazy. Don't just rely on a YouTuber for your investments. That's absolutely insane. Now, if you're coming to me for comfort, then I'll rub your head like I did my son when he was first born, you know, because you know what? I'm a nice guy. But I'm just saying, if you're looking to get into actual investing, you really need to do your own research. And a lot of these people are just saying crazy things. There's very few of us that really try to be as transparent as possible with what's going on. Now, it's not to say I'm better than anyone. I definitely have my faults. And like I said, I slipped up earlier with what I said in the previous video. So I do make mistakes. It's gonna happen. But I recommend that you do your own research on what's going on, because at the end of the day, it's your money and you are responsible for it. I am not a financial advisor, and I can guarantee no one else on YouTube really is. So going into tomorrow, what I like right now, the OBV looks absolutely incredible. The borrow rate, it's setting up to hit 100%, which is absolutely insane. The chart looks really good as well. We're pushing past the monthly level. The Nasdaq is getting a rebound as well. All four of these things are cued to help AMC get that next level break. We saw once we broke above that 10-15 range, we got a huge slingshot to about 10:30 around the last hour of the day, and then we got pushed back down when the Nasdaq got hammered back down. So that's worth mentioning. It's showing that there's a key level, and if we can break above that key level, which is price action, if we can break above that price action level, we can get that move that we really need and what we really want. But I recommend you guys do your own DD. Take everything I say with a grain of salt and make sure you're responsible for your own investments. Have a good one, traders. Namaste.